You know that famous saying, less is more? This can easily be applied to social media as well too. Before that, give me the three freebies. Like, share, and subscribe. My name is Spencer, your host for the Firm and Fair podcast, and we have work to do. Let's get to it. Okay, let's review this article from the Insider.com. Why taking a break from social media is important. From a health perspective, social media is a double-edged sword, says Neha Chowdhury, MD, who's a child and adolescent psychiatrist at Massachusetts General Hospital and Harvard Medical School. On one hand, it helps us stay connected to each other and combat loneliness, which could be good for our health since studies have shown that social isolation and loneliness can negatively impact health, Chowdhury says. On the other hand, social media is often associated with cyberbullying, social comparison, and other phenomena that can be detrimental to our health and well-being. So simply put, I've pulled away from social media for quite some time. I barely post as it is. If you know me personally in real life, you know that I don't post that much. And for what it's worth, I don't go down and scroll down people's stories or anything like that, due to the fact that social media is not a person's full life. We all have one life to live. Soap opera shout out. But even within that one life, it's kind of hard to document every single thing that goes on in your life. And why would you want to? For damn sure, don't be documenting your losses. But for the most part, document your wins whenever you can. But don't document your wins in such the way that people think that's all you're doing is winning. Every life has its challenges, and we have to really, really understand to be there for each other, within those given challenges. Let's continue. To ensure that social media has a positive impact on your health, it's important to be conscious of how you're using it. That's really important. Hell yeah. I use social media to tap into my own interests that I have in life. If you know me in real life, I love chess. I love to game. I love board games. I love working out. I like funny memes as well, too, because it's good to laugh. In life, if you're not laughing, you're crying. Now, to ensure that social media has a positive impact on your health, it's important to be conscious of how you're using it. That means knowing when to take a break and direct your attention elsewhere. As anything in life, everything is good with moderation. Overuse of anything, no matter how good it is for you, and damn sure how bad, is always going to be bad for you. So moderate how much you're on social media. Take a break. Go outside for a walk. Read a book. Do something that you like that has nothing to do with a screen. That's what I tend to do nowadays. Now, remember, continuing from the article, remember that social media is a sedentary behavior. Even though you may be talking to friends, social media limits your capacity for face-to-face interactions and make you spend less time out in the real world and more time on your phone or computer. In addition, social media may cause feelings of stress, anxiety, or depression if you find yourself comparing to other people's lives to yours. Or depression if you find yourself comparing other people's lives to yours. That's a big one. There's this phrase we like to say, right? Especially in the Black community, keeping up with the Joneses. And one way you like to keep up with the Joneses is from social media. If someone has something that's grand, luxurious, some kind of material asset, of course, it's good to show it up. But then you find yourself comparing yourself to that actual post, like that's that actual person's life. No, that's a culmination of all their choices that have led to them to be able to show that off on social media. But that's not just them. There's always more in the background that we're not seeing. So I would say it's much better. A life is much better lived when you're not comparing yourself to the other person. Let people live their lives. You live your own as well, too. We have different outcomes for what makes us happy, what makes us comfortable, or what makes us content. Find yours and kind of stick to it. You don't have to go above or under that. Find out, what actually makes you comfortable and stick with that. Now, continuing. As far as mental health, social media can affect our self-esteem and lead us to comparing ourselves to edited photos and lives that appear perfect, like I just said. Says Katara McCarty, creator of Excel, a well-being for Black and Indigenous women of color. If we are sitting on social media for extended hours, we aren't taking the time to take care of our bodies and enjoy life outside of social media. Next video, I'm actually going to be discussing why you should have a self-care routine. A self-care routine is good for one, self-awareness, two, emotional health, because you're taking care of the only thing you truly have in this world, which is your body. Now, continuing. Signs you should take a break from social media. It's not fun anymore. Social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter are meant to be fun and enjoyable way to connect with family and friends. If you find that it's no longer a source of joy and connection in your life, it may be a sign to take a break. You're comparing yourself to others. If you are feeling like you aren't good enough, pretty enough, or successful enough while consuming what's in your newsfeed, you should continue to take you should consider taking a break, says McCarty. If you find that you feel worse about yourself after you're on social media, then it's not a resource that is adding to your emotional well-being, which is very important. Emotional responsibility is also emotional awareness as well too. So you need to be aware of how things are affecting you, especially if you're voluntarily letting it affect you that way. If something affects you negatively and you voluntarily go back to it, take that away from your life. You don't need that. That's Life's a little too short to be allowing negative aspects to just harbor on your life. Your doom scrolling. Doom scrolling, which is something new for me, occurs when you find yourself mindlessly and continuously scrolling through social media sites. You may doom scroll because you feel the need to constantly know everything that's happening in the world, from news to trending topics. You may not even realize you're doing it until a huge lapse of time has passed and you're still sitting in the same position on your phone or computer. I'll be honest, I have never doom scrolled. That's my first time ever hearing about it. I limit my usage as far as like news, entertainment, because things need to be done, and I have a path of creation. So even right now, as I create this podcast and you're sitting here watching it, I'd rather spend more time on this, like creating a podcast, as opposed to as I say, doom scrolling. It's the last thing you see at night, which is one more thing. Looking at your phone before bed may be disrupting your sleep because it keeps your mind active and awake. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of at least taking 30 minutes before my bedtime, which is 10 p.m. So by 9:30 p.m., I like to shut everything down and just start calming down and relaxing because you got to process everything you've been looking at. The blue light from your cell phone suppresses melatonin, which is a hormone responsible for controlling sleep. I didn't know that. I'll be changing that blue light filter sometime soon. Since blue light is an artificial color that imitates daylight, your body will think it's daytime and keep you energized, thus resisting the urge to wind down for sleep. Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. It transitions from a nice to have activity to a need to have activity. Huh. Yeah. I'm of the actual generation that I kind of seen social media bloom into what it is, and we're talking 15 years ago, because the first social media site that really got things cracking was Facebook back in 2007, and I signed up when I was in college. So yeah, I've seen it change, and I've seen it change from something that was like cool to have. Now people think they have to be on it. You have to be on it. Like if you were hollering at a girl, instead of getting her number, she would like, "Do you have IG? Do you have a Snapchat? Do you have Twitter?" What? That's not how you find out about a person. But yeah, it turns from a nice to have to a need to have, and that changes. Let's continue an article. This is a helpful rule of thumb for deciding to take a break, says Chowdhury. If you're occasionally using it to stay connected or otherwise enhancing your life, that's a nice to have. But if you're using it as an unhealthy way to cope with underlying anxiety or feeling yourself becoming distressed if you haven't checked it in a while, those may be signs you need to take a break. I agree. Now, how to take a break from social media? Even if you recognize you should take a break from social media to improve your mental health, it can be difficult to do. That does make sense because, if there's something that you're used to doing, to change it can cause shock to your system. Then you find yourself resisting it that much more. Continuing an article. For many, scrolling through social media can be an addictive stimulus, and it will take some real willpower to break the habit. If you want to effectively take a break, you'll have to be intentional about it, says Chowdhury. It can help if you pull in a friend or family member to keep you accountable. Here are 5 helpful tips to help you take a break from social media and to stick to it. Let's just go through these tips. I'm not going to break it down, but let's speak to the tips and then continue in the video about my experience around taking a break from social media. Here's one. Turn off your notifications from your platforms. Here's two. Prioritize self-care. I'm telling you, when you start focusing on the greatest project of your life, which is yourself, self-care will take precedent over anything that you're looking at. When I tell you that I'm in the best shape of my life, I'm in the best mental health of my life, dare I say I'm the best looking of my life, even then and there too. Well, it really does help for you to actually focus on you taking care of yourself, and then you don't have to worry about that outside stimulus. Number three, a lot of time to use social media. Yeah, I do a lot of time. So for the most part, I focus on sometimes in the morning before I start going to the gym, and then sometimes surely after work. But besides that, I like to focus on what I like to do. Number four, put your phone across the room at night so that you can't scroll before bed. I don't know how helpful this is actually going to be for most of you because you're going to get up and go get your phone anyway. So uh, I would say just put your phone face down and just focus on having 30 minutes to yourself, just to yourself. Talk to yourself, ask questions, be introspective, learn about you. Even though you've been with yourself all your life, there's still things you need to learn about yourself. Use 30 minutes to start asking yourself introspective questions. You may be surprised at the answers and pleasantly be able to move forward in a much better form and fashion. Number 5, use social media limiting apps. Wow. If you have an iPhone, you can track your screen time for different apps and even set the limits. Okay. Yeah, I would say do that as well too. All right, that's enough here. Let's continue on to the video. Look, this is for your own mental health and for your self-care. Take that break from social media. Do it for about an hour a day, where you just focus on things you like. Learn about yourself. Find something that you want to get better at. All right? You look like you're starting to do better. I'm going to start doing better as well. We all will. This is the Firm and Fit podcast, and I'm out.